We have more college basketball to talk about. Other than Villanova, last week something big happened in college basketball, I would say, especially when you consider it involves the University of Missouri. In a move somewhat shocking to me, Jontay Porter declared for the NBA draft.
Yeah, my mouth was wide open. I had no idea that would ever happen.
Now, it's also fair to say that Jontay will not hire an agent, which makes him eligible to return to Mizzou. Okay. He has not lost his eligibility.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Neither did I. He will not hire an agent. He will not lose his eligibility to come back to Mizzou. But what are the odds of that really happening? Jontay looks like a late one. Every single mock draft I've seen, he's a late first rounder. So what are the odds really of him coming back? Very, very slim, though possible. Let me just say that. Let me be frank. Both sides of the argument, it's possible for him to come back.
Right.
But everything I say from now on, he's basically gone. And now more than ever is the best time to talk about the Porter brothers and their projections, right? Because this has been hanging over our heads, especially with Michael Porter Jr. for the entire season. Mm-hmm. And I've tried hard to refrain from talking about it. And I feel like now is the perfect time to. And again, I'm trying so hard to think objectively about the entire thing, about Jontay and Michael Porter Jr. And I believe that they should both stay for the exact same argument. Did either of them really look ready at all? Let's start with Michael. And his ceiling, some people say, is as high as Kevin Durant's. Mm-hmm. Words like elite, modern, unique. SI wrote that he's a unicorn. Sure, it seems rare to see someone of that height move and shoot like that, but there are plenty of guys in the league similar to the body type of Michael Porter Jr. How many more years will we see string beans like him and say unicorn? Kevin Durant is obviously the best of the bunch, but you can have guys like Giannis, Harrison Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Jason Tatum, and then guys right behind, or maybe even in front of Michael Porter Jr., Marvin Bagley, Markelle Bridges. MPJ and guys like him are no longer the unicorn. Why do we say that they are special, that that's modern? Why do we say that? That's just what it is now. So many guys have the same body type as him.
And when you were talking about them not looking ready, for how high he's projected to go in the draft, you can't put him there from what he's done at Mizzou. That's just projection.
The high school, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's so raw. And so is Jontay, and we're going to get into that. The game is evolving. Like I said, though, the new prototype player seems to be the 6'9" skinny kid who can do it all relatively okay. Mm-hmm. I would say in 5 years, every team's going to have one. Every team's going to have their Michael Porter Jr. But everyone I mentioned, when I mentioned everybody already in the NBA who compares to Michael Porter Jr., they had way better college careers than him. I know that they weren't injured like Porter Jr., but when the lights shine brightest, our guy didn't play well at all. And for those of you who want to argue with me and tell me that he wasn't 100% health, who is? Ask any athlete late in the year and deep in the playoffs, who is 100% health-wise? People tell me, oh, well, he's not fully healthy. He's coming off of injury. How many nagging injuries do all basketball players deal with late in the year or in the playoffs? I don't want to hear that he's not fully healthy. Ask LeBron or even Michael Jordan.
Or even a high school kid.
80%, which is what Michael Porter Jr. probably was at, is a blessing. Even not at 100%, he should have had an advantage being fresh. I am of the opinion that there are no excuses to be made about his play in those 2 games. And all the guys I've named, I predict them all to have better careers than Michael Porter Jr. I'm worried for this guy. I really am. I root for him to be great, elite, special, a unicorn. I want that. That's my guy. I want what's best for him, which is why I think he should stay. But what I saw out there in those 2 games was a guy who didn't have a clue what to do with the ball and someone who didn't check any of the boxes that anyone expected him to. I believe that he should stay a year, gain 15 pounds, become the National Player of the Year, lead Mizzou to the Elite Eight possibly, and prove he is who we thought he was. Other than, which is what he's about to do, being thrown into the fire of the NBA on a bad team with no help versus players who want to prove to the world that he isn't Jack. There needs to be a brand new Michael Porter Jr. in the NBA because even an improved version of the one that we saw is not serviceable. And for those of you who say, don't worry, he'll be fine. There's nothing to worry about. He'll be all right. I don't want fine for him. I want a better Michael Porter Jr. Fine is Harrison Barnes. Fine is okay. Fine is nothing to be ashamed of. But fine is not an all-star. Just fine, he'll be just fine. Just fine is not a dynamic player. Fine is a bootlicker. Fine is not good enough for Michael Porter Jr. And for those of you who say, don't worry, he'll be fine, guess what? I'm right there with you. I think he'll be just fine. Just fine is all he'll ever be. And let's move on to Jontay. This may shock some people. I think, and I'm going out on a limb, I think he has a higher ceiling than Porter Jr. because there are not many guys like Jontay who play like him. Jontay's the real unicorn. Jontay was a great defender at the college level, averaging 2 blocks a game and 7 rebounds off of the bench. Not to mention 2 assists. Jontay is big and can get bigger. He's 18 years old. And he's already 240. He can get to 250 and still maintain great form. This guy in 3 years, when he's 21, I think he's going to bang with the best of them down low. And here's what I love about basketball. Different stats tell you different things other than what they are specifically measuring. Jontay averages 11 rebounds in 24 minutes. That tells us that in the few minutes he plays per game, he gets after it on the boards. Because rebounding is strength plus positioning plus heart, right? The stat is rebounding, but we can tell your positioning. We can tell your strength and your heart and your effort level from a rebounding stat. Jontay averages 2 blocks off the bench as well. What that tells us is that he has great anticipation and positioning on the defensive end. Blocks is the stat, but we know he has great anticipation. Again, Porter averages 2 assists. And for a 7-footer, that's sublime. What does that tell us? He has great vision for a big. And when he gets the ball, he has more than one plan. How many bigs? Give me $1 for every big. Every time he gets the ball on the block, just puts his head down. Or what about this? Every time they get an offensive rebound, doesn't even think about kicking it back out, just goes straight up. I'd be a millionaire.
That's a ton of college players.
That's almost all of them.
Yeah.
That's not Jontay, though. Jontay, yes, can do that, but he averages 2 assists per 20 minutes. That means when he gets the ball down low, he doesn't just have one trick, one move. If you collapse on him, he will pass the ball. Great vision for a big. And along with that, he has shown the ability to shoot a 3. His ceiling in terms of value to a team, I believe, is higher than Michael Porter Jr.'s. Is he NBA ready? No. No, he's not. Will he have a better NBA career? The odds wouldn't say so either. I'm not going that far either.
Right.
But this guy is raw. He's only 18 years old. 3 years from today, he'll be 21. That's math.
That's very good.
That is still mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. He has a higher ceiling than Porter Jr. There are so many guys in the league already like Porter Jr. who I think Porter Jr. will not be as good as. Will Porter Jr. be all right? Yes, he'll be just fine, like I said. And will Jontay be as good? I don't know. I'm saying that his potential is incredible. Because even in 4 or 5 years when Jontay's in the NBA, still not many big guys will play like him. Everybody's going to have their own Michael Porter Jr. Everybody, because in the coming drafts, I'm sure there are so many guys with the same body type and skill set as him, but not Jontay. Not many guys in the league are like Jontay right now. Not many guys are going to be like Jontay in 5 years. Jontay's going to get better at everything he does already pretty well. And I think he has the higher ceiling. Coming up next, we're talking Masters. Stay with us. This is Triple A.